Oh, folks. That's right. You get a no folks moment. Aren't you excited? Also, you know, I realize I'm extremely stubborn, especially when it comes to my cigarettes, but enough of my fans requested that I try vaping. So, there. Are you happy? I'll at least give it a shot. I'll give it the good old college try. Not that good old college try. I don't do anything drunken or naked. So, anyways, I was given some awesome information, some really amazing research done by my very dear friend Will. And Will sent me along this information on EDTA. Yep, that's right, folks. Get your notebooks out. All right, so here's the thing. EDTA, with regards to how Lebeau did the research, did the tests, it's complete bunk. It's complete bunk. Because, all right, this, and I'll include the links down below so you can see, but this specific source cites that the dilution of EDTA also goes into a valid example of proper control methods, something which Lebeau did not explain. So, I'm going to go ahead and read to you directly from this source. Again, I'll include the link down in the bottom. Detecting EDTA from a blood swab sample sounds fairly straightforward. However, without having a documented limit of detection, no scientist can accept what a test can and can't do. If one does not know what a test can and cannot do, he or she cannot use that test to draw any conclusions. Without a limit of detection, this information means nothing. Nothing. No limit of detection was ever cited at any point during Dr. Lebeau's, or I'm sorry, whatever the fuck his title is, Lebeau's testimony. The amount of EDTA in blood tubes is minuscule, almost negligible compared to the amount of blood. We are talking about 7 milligrams of EDTA in a 4 milliliter blood tube. If 0.1 milliliters was taken out, it would at most contain 0.2 milligrams of EDTA. The blood was swabbed from the vehicle, and probably only 1/10 of the blood, 0.01 milliliters of actual blood, thereby diluting it further. The swab used was also wetted with some sort of solvent, maybe 0.1 milliliters. Now, there's only 0.002 milligrams of EDTA in that blood swab. The swab most likely was diluted further for test purposes, probably taking the swab and resuspending into at least 1 milliliter of solution. Using those numbers, which are probably conservative, the test would have to be able to detect 0.0002 milligrams of EDTA in 1 milliliter of sample. Outside of the amount of EDTA present in a 4 milliliter blood tube, these numbers are hypothetical for illustrative purposes only. So the fact is that when you really look at the numbers and how diluted the EDTA would be by the time that swab reached the lab and it actually was tested, it it is mind-boggling how such a sloppy test could have been done and actually entered into court as evidence. Pardonnez-moi. All right, now, here is where it gets really awesome. So, Will looked up a bunch of stuff and from Wikipedia. And yes, I did end up cross-referencing this. I called a buddy of mine who actually works in the I can never remember the name of the fucking lab. He works at the main forensics lab here in Albuquerque. And, I ran all this by him. He confirmed, so we're good to go. Now, what people don't understand is that when you're talking about any chemical solution, especially anything that's going to be tested for forensics, you have to take into account something that's called abiotic degradation. What this means is how direct sunlight, direct air, even humidity, how all of that will affect a sample. Okay? Now, essentially speaking, EDTA, I'm going to just, simplify this. You can go to the Wikipedia page and, read it for yourself. I'm going to simplify this. In sunlight and in heat, EDTA degrades. It actually breaks down, which means that by the time that sample was tested, the amount of EDTA to be detected would have been even lower than if it had just been tested straight out of the tube. Okay? So that's essentially it. EDTA degrades in sunlight. And where some of those blood samples were found from was, it was sunlight was hitting right on those fucking smears. So that's point number one. Now, point number two is this. When you have something of scientific questionability that needs to be entered into a court case, there needs to be a Frye hearing. Now, Will was kind enough to break it down into very simple terms for me to read to you guys so that you understand what a Frye hearing is and why it's significant. The Frye standard, that's F-R-Y-E, the Frye standard or Frye test is a general acceptance test to determine the admissibility of scientific evidence. It provides that expert opinion based on a scientific technique is admissible only where the technique is generally accepted as reliable in the relevant scientific community. So basically, it's to determine whether or not this specific test is scientifically viable enough that it can be accepted as fact. Because if not enough tests, experiments, whatever, has been performed, it does not meet the Frye standard. Okay? So, why is this significant? It is significant because the only other time, there's only been 2 instances that EDTA was tested for in blood. One was the Avery hearing, one was the Avery case, the other was O.J. Simpson. That's it. 20 fucking years and then some ish between cases. That does not meet the Frye standard. Therefore, that cannot be the fact that they said, oh, well, there's no EDTA in this blood. It is not possible for the FBI to have come up with that test, calibrated the machines, tested it enough times to get, to determine the level of detection, the limit of detection, and then run the tests on the swabs. And when you're working with something that does not meet the Frye standard, you are supposed to run all the swabs, not just 3, LeBeau. How the fuck are you still a part of the FBI? I thought they had higher standards. Jesus fuck. So that's essentially it, folks. It is still not determinable if those swabs came from that tube because EDTA degrades in sunlight. Not only that, but we don't know the limit of detection on that fucking test. So until they produce viable results and until they can pass the Frye standard, I call bullshit. All right, folks. I've got some more awesome stuff to introduce to you tonight. So, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Mama Phoenix 6. Don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube. And down below, I'm going to leave the link to our new fundraising source for Clue TV, GoFundMe. So I'll leave that down below. Yes, we got rid of Kickstarter. It wasn't working out. So, thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you next video.